Hi there. I'm Terces, and I want to take a moment and welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So, this is episode 204 or 205, something like that. A lot. I really didn't know how long this would go on when I started it. I began it as an opportunity to just open up my heart every week, let some of the wisdom that I've gleaned over my 38 years of recovery after living an addictive lifestyle with an eating disorder for 20 years, 16 to 36. This is going to be my 74th year of life. And wow, I'm grateful to be here. I can remember when I couldn't get through one day without either starving myself or eating and binging or just the chaos and crisis of an addictive lifestyle, and how substance, whatever your substance might be or might have been, can just dictate your life. So super grateful for that. Uh, I learned from other people's stories. And so the idea came in the early COVID uh, experience that we've all been through to just start sharing some of these tidbits, stories from my life, in the hopes that perhaps they might resonate with you. You might hear something that you haven't heard in just that same way before, or maybe you have. Maybe you've heard it exactly the way that I express it, but you're in a place now where you can see something or hear something in a way that it eases your journey and helps you along the path. Yeah. So welcome. Grateful that you're here. Some of you are new. Some of you have been with me for a long time. All of you are welcome. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you. I do offer individual sessions on Tuesday mornings, and those are really simply an opportunity for me to get to know you a little bit better. And as an elder, to sit and listen and reflect and share with you the beauty that I see in you, that perhaps, given our oftentimes distorted views of ourselves, we don't see or can't see. And sometimes if somebody can reflect it for us, we can begin to break down those kind of shattered visions of ourselves and begin to see ourselves as the whole amazing being you were created to be, and then step into that and live from there. So that's my hope. If you're interested, it's a donation basis, and you can sign up on terceenglehart.com underneath the topic, Let's Work Together. Okay, so this particular episode is called The Test of Trusting. And I'm going to share with you a story, something that just recently happened in my life. Um, we're in the process of upgrading our dairy room. I needed a new kettle, and I needed a larger kettle. And so it's been this whole process of cleaning the room, getting rid of the soot that had built up from a kettle that, uh, besides being too small, was too smoky and needed to be vented. And so we're in that process. We spent a lot of time cleaning and painting, and we're waiting the arrival of the new kettle. But that's the story I want to tell you about. So we looked around and we went through lots of different options, and could we go to electric and thus not need to vent, and all these different options. And it was weeks of just discovery and looking, because it's an investment. And anyway, we finally thought we found the kettle, and we were communicating with a person on eBay. And he was not only helpful, he was maybe too helpful, like too great, too responsive. He was amazing. His name was Tim, and he was unbelievable. And finally, we got to the place where we made the decision of which kettle, and we let him know that we were committed to it, and we'd done all the background work we needed to do to make sure we could make it work. And then when we went to finalize the sale, he said, you could save sales tax by ordering directly from our website and not through eBay. This red flag went up for us because I don't know, 7 years, 8 years ago, we bought a truck on eBay and it was out of Texas and it was from a dealership. And they also recommended that we could avoid some expense by going directly through their website. And long story short, we did. We never got our truck and we lost $22,000. And, it was just one of these wild rides. It was, we called the police station. The police actually were across the street from the dealer. And when they looked outside, they were like, well, that dealer shut down. And anyway, long story short, we got scammed and we lost some money. So when Tim said that, all of our guards went up. And, it was just, oh no, here we go again. And so, we debated, sure, we were going to save like $600, but we could also lose thousands. But I just noticed the mistrust, the wound from the past coming to the surface. So my husband and I talked about it a little bit. And eventually I said to him, why don't you call him and speak to him and share with him your concern and let's just see what he says. So anyhow, my husband was like, well, I'm such a pushover. How would I know anyway? But anyway, he called him and then he told him, like, this is my concern. And, Tim said, listen, either way is fine with me. You can order on eBay. That's great. A lot of people do that because they want the protection. But you can also order it through our website, and either way is fine with me. And he actually said, I get it. I get you can't just trust anybody these days. And yeah, I don't know that I would either. Anyway, we decided to go ahead. So we did. We ordered it directly through the website. And then, of course, we'd been talking to him every day for probably a week. And then, there wasn't any communication for a few days. And I just saw all my doubt, all my fears. And I said to Matthew, my husband, I said, so were we expecting to hear from him or what did we think was next? And then he got a text that said, oh, the parts came in we needed to change it from natural gas to propane. And he was going to do that whole conversion for no additional cost, which we know costs probably close to $1,000, all the parts. Anyway, he said they'd come in, but there were only 16 instead of 20. So anyway, it went on for a little while. And I noticed I was thinking about it. I would think about it when I went to bed. I would think about it when I woke up. Just like, did I make a mistake? And the mistrust. And the mistrust really wasn't anything that was happening right now. It was simply a reminder of an earlier similar incident. And yet I want to be a trusting person. I want to be known as being trustworthy. So anyhow, we went along, and as I started this episode, I told you we're waiting for the arrival of the pod. It's on its way. He showed us this really beautiful video of him getting it turned on once it was repaired. We've gotten the tracking information and we can track it from Florida through Chicago, and we have a delivery date. Now, it's not exactly here yet, but we're very confident that it's on its way. But it's not about this kettle or that pot. It's about me. It's about trust and my husband and I trusting and you trusting. And so the lesson is, how do we heal from broken trust? How do we learn to trust again? Because really, given the way that I see things going, I think it's the currency that's going to be the most valuable. Maybe things will change with our dollar. Maybe things will change with the market, with the interest, with all the things that are kind of up in the air right now. But what's going to matter most is that we can trust one another. And that we can trust ourselves and we can trust the choices that we make. So, how do we do that? Well, we have to test ourselves. We have to actually put ourselves in the position of trusting when we're unsure and then following through with that trust And it may or may not actually go the way you want it to go. But the exercise is testing ourselves to continue to expand our capacity to trust. And I think that's a key piece for all of us. Those of us who have gone through addiction and recovery, and those of us who are loved ones of people who have struggled with addiction or are struggling with addiction. Because, one of the things about my recovery was I realized early on I wasn't going to be able to recover in the environment that I was living in because there was this broken trust. There was this lack of trust. And so, in that space of mistrust, what happens is you will eventually fail. You will eventually be mistrustful because it's the environment that you're in. So, how do we create an environment of trust? Is we have to trust. We have to pass the test of trusting when we're afraid, when we're unsure, when we're uncertain, when we feel like we might get ripped off or someone might let us down. They might. You might get ripped off. They might let you down. But as I said earlier, do you want to be somebody that trusts? Do you want to be known as a trustworthy person? As a person worthy of trusting? Then for you and me, what there is to continue to take the test of trusting. So this week, I want you to expand your trust. I want you to test yourselves in trusting whatever that might look like for you. Maybe it's with a loved one. Maybe it's with yourself. I don't know. It's everywhere always. Always there's this possibility of trusting, and then there's the unsureness that perhaps you and I and others live with. So this week, test yourselves. Go ahead. See if you can pass the test of trusting. And guess what? I'll see you next week.